Okay, let's talk about my latest project and my undertaking on my G87 M2. And that is, I want to install a 6-point harness on the driver's side to help me when I am going on the track. I don't have to wedge my legs against either the dead pedal on my left foot or my right thigh up against the center console to try to keep myself upright. I like that nice compressed feeling of pulling your body up against the seat and holding you tightly. So I have purchased a Lifeline 6-point harness. It's the Copes version, which has the pull straps to pull it tight on you. And as you can see right there, I mean, they're the champions of safety. So how awesome is that? But the real trick to this, of what I'm going to try to do, is I'm going to try to use my stock carbon bucket seats and adapt it so that way I can use the 6-point harness. Now, using a 4-point harness wouldn't be so bad because you can find the lower rear anchor points pretty easily. The rear ones in the back, so I got to attach to a cage or a harness bar, which we'll talk about later. But the anti-submarine straps, which are the two that go down by your crotch to hold you down to keep you from falling from underneath the seat belts, underneath the harness in case of an accident. There's not a whole lot of ways you can do that. So most people will swap out this seat for a Recaro podium or something like that, and the Recaro podium is really cool. It's about $3,500 to $4,000 for that seat. But I wanted to take on the challenge of seeing if I can make these awesome carbon bucket seats work. So the first thing we're going to notice is you got this piece of carbon right here, and you might be thinking, hey, I bet you there's a hole down there that you can be able to run your straps through. Well, two problems with that. One, it's slightly too far forward. The optimal place for the submarine straps is right where this seam here is. And secondly, if you remove this trim plate, which I have, what you'll find underneath there is absolutely nothing useful. Let's put the seat up here so you can see it. There's a clip right here, and there's a screw right under here. You remove those, and that carbon piece can pop right out. And there's a chunk of styrofoam on the other side of this carbon fiber here, and the small little hole right here that this clip goes through. That's it. So nothing useful there at all. Plus, someone would probably be tempted if they ran straps through there to attach it to this horizontal bar here, which is not a good idea. But what do we see here? Look at that. We see a nice open slot already cut into the carbon fiber. This goes all the way through, a little bit of styrofoam here. Above that is the foam of the seat. And look at that width. It's perfect for anti-submarine straps, which need to be about 4 inches apart at the mounting point. More than that, that is right in line with this seam right here. I know that because I took like a pick tool and poked it up there to see, and it comes at the center of that slot is right at this seam here, which is the ideal measurement from the crest of the vertex of the seat up to this point here is I think about 12 inches, which is pretty much ideal where you want your anti-submarine straps to be. But typically what you're going to have is when you open your seat up, you have this big plastic doohickey right here that has your power cable and your electronics kind of strapped inside there, blocking this whole area. Well, this goes away. And then I'm just going to attach this down to this lower bracket here, which will totally free up this area right here. So that is what the underneath side of your carbon bucket seats look like. Now my challenges are going to be how to get the straps through here and how to do the rear strap mounting points or for the shoulders and how to make it look all nice and do as few permanent modifications to my car as possible in that process. So I think I got a plan, and I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing as I go through this. But I'm excited for this. This is going to be awesome. One of the concerns I have is where is the heating pad underneath the seat, and so I'm going to put the seat back into the car and hook up turn on the seat heater and see if I can identify where the heating pad is. Okay, I've had my seat warmers on for a little bit because I wanted to see where the seat warmer starts and ends. So I'm going to be cutting a hole right about here, so you can see that's room temperature right now as I go a little bit down. Right about here, it starts getting hot. 74 degrees, 72, 70. So I think that the seat warmer ends right about where that seam is there. And it's also over here. You can see all along your thigh. Up into here, we're in the 70s. Come back over here, 64. Nearly 80 degrees right there under your thigh. So it looks like the seat warmer comes about all the way up to there. Oh, my power just turned off here, so it's going to turn off in a second. But yeah, so I think the seat warmer pad ends here. So it should be free to cut in this area here and not hit anything important. It's also in the back, which is nice, as you can feel. Really, that's what we buy the seat warmers for, right? It's for our lower back pain. Okay, I'm going just to open this up a little bit and lightly cut these stitchings right here. Of course, you have to whisper, because if you're whispering and sticking your tongue out, then you are doing some fine detail work. This makes me so nervous. No turning back now. All right. All right, there's light down through there. Now I'm going to go on the underneath side there and kind of clean up that styrofoam that's underneath there. Okay, so I removed the styrofoam right here, little pieces of it here. It's like actually like a polypropylene or polyethylene foam. And then there's this little netting and some fibrous cushion material that's in this area too. So you kind of cut that away. For now, I'm just going to tuck it back here. I just slid it up here and then just kind of tucked it back, and we'll see how that works. Here's like a little pull down to make the trim all tight. But as you can see, I have a path all the way through the seat now. There we go. All right, and I got a little trick up my sleeve that I'm going to work on here to make this look nice and neat. Okay, now I got this hole cut here. My fingers come right through that. So what do we do about this hole? Well, I got this. All right, so let's try this out. Oops, got it backwards. And that is just latching on right here. So a nice trim piece for the bottom of my seat. Not too shabby. Where did I get this from? Let's have a look. This is the mounts for the front seat. If you look down here, there's a little bit of a shoulder here, a little protrusion that comes out, and then the seat bolt screws into there. So I made a bracket that is going to go rest on this shoulder and around this protrusion. And it's about, the bracket's about 1/4 inch thick, and this is about 0.2 inches if I remember right. So it's going to sit a little bit proud of that. And the reason why I did that is so that way on the, when the seat is bolted down, any sort of lateral forces will be on this shoulder rather than on the bolt holding the seat down in place. So here is the bracket here. It's gonna snap down there and on that end over there as well. And then it's 1/4 inch plate along with some 3/16 thick 1.5 inch angle iron that will sit under the seat. And I have some 7/16 fine thread nuts that are tacked to the back. So my anti-submarine straps will come down through the seat slot that I made and will attach through some bolts this way. And this position will put it so that way the anti-submarine straps are at the correct angle when I'm sitting in the seat. So this is going to work out pretty good. Okay, so where am I going to attach the rear seat belts to? They're going to attach to this harness bar that I built that sits behind the rear seat back. Right now I'm currently sitting on where the rear seat would be. It goes all the way across. It attaches to this support over here that's about like a C-shaped, and it's probably about 10 gauge thick. So, you know, probably about 0.1 inches or so thick. And there's 2 holes that already exist there. So these 2 10mm bolts go through some existing holes. Back behind there, I have a 1/4 inch bar with 2 10mm nuts welded on the back side of it. So that these just screw into that and sandwich this piece right here. Works out pretty well. I got 2 supports that go back down here, and that attaches to a 10mm threaded hole that already exists. So no drilling or cutting to get this to fit in there. 100% bolt in, and looks pretty slick, and I think it's going to work out just great. This is 1.5 inch 095 wall DOM. I think it's 1018 steel is what I did there. And then all of this, the bracketry here is 1/4 inch flat bar 1018 cold rolled. Some little hooks down there I can tie some straps to. All right, pretty slick. Okay, let's have a look at the finished project here for my 6-point harness. Here we've got the lifeline copes. So it comes down through here. The lap belt is mounted down by the seat mount point in the back. Let's see if we can see it here. Back there is where the other mounting is. That's the only hole that I drilled into the car for this project. The front is mounted down to these brackets down here. This is for the anti-submarine belt. To do it proper, I should put a cotter pin in there, but and then the anti-submarine belts come up through the middle of the seat through the 3D printed part that I made. Heat seating function is still intact. All that can come here, that can go there, this can go there. These can tuck back in here, and then you're good to use your 3-point belt. Now for the back, let's come around the other side over here. The rear restraints go down to the harness bar that I made. That's at about a 10-degree angle, which according to most sources I could find is a good angle to have. When I'm wearing my Hans device, the belt is not riding on the slots of the car. It sits right about in the middle of the slots, which is good. So let's open the trunk. See if I can get my shadow out of the shot here. Come this way. So I'm out of my coilover reservoirs there. and then that sits in there, a little cutout on the floor. So the only changes that I really made to the car is this cutout here in this floor. I did cut this on the floor all the way across just so I can snap it in place on both sides. And then up on the side trim panel here, I cut a hole for the harness bar to go through. You can see better on this side over here. And those are the only irreversible changes other than the hole drilled up in the right hand side lower lap belt mounting point. But all of that can be undone if I wanted to, for probably not a whole lot of money to get some of these interior pieces. And then the bolt hole for the harness belt on the lap belt side is, well, it's done. No takebacks there. So this is the setup. I'm excited to try it on the track to see how it feels. I'm not excited to see if it works because that would be bad, but I'm excited to see if it holds me in place real well and if it's going to be a successful project for me. But yeah, I'm real pleased with it so far. I think that from what I can tell, I followed all the regulations I could think of. You know, I did not do a half cage like a lot of people do, nor a full cage. I don't plan on racing this in competitively. So really what I was looking for is some more security into the seat, hold me down tighter into the seat, and an improvement in safety. And if I were to do a half cage or full cage or secure foam like Demolition Man, then obviously that would be safer, but this is still a step up from a 3-point seat belt. Works with my Hans device and will hold me more securely to the car and also provide me an extra measure of safety. So there we go. It works. 6-point harness seat belt inside of a BMW M Series with the stock carbon bucket seats.